And we're ready to welcome Laura Williams. Hi, Laura.
Hello, hi. Thank you for having me.
It's great that you're here, and you're a co-host, so you can share a screen, and I'll just let you get on.
Great, thank you. Thanks so much, and such an amazing program. And I wish that I had been able to be here all day, but I'm going to look forward to catching up online. So I'm just going to share my screen. No, sorry, just
You okay?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to find the sorry, it's not picking up. I'm not sure why this is. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. Yep, can you see that now?
Yeah.
Great. Do I need to do anything else, or is that?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. So I'm Laura Williams. I'm an artist and designer and organic farmer. I now live in a place called Branscombe in Devon, on the Lyme Bay. So this is a picture of the mouth of Branscombe, of the valleys that end up at Branscombe mouth, and the sea on this south coast of East Devon. So today I wanted to just give a very brief insight to initially the work that I've been doing with the moon and tides, but really about some of the different ways that life here on Earth is affected by the ever-moving and changing Earth, Moon and Sun system in this incredible solar system. So here's a snapshot of where we are today. It's the vernal equinox. We've just passed the full moon, so it's the waning alder moon in some pagan traditions. This moon is called the alder moon. The moon rise is going to set at 18 minutes past 10. It's going to rise, sorry, it's going to set at 8, just after 8 in the morning. And the high tide here is going to be at 10 to 9. This is a time, this moon, the vernal equinox full moon specifically, that the coral spawns all around the world. And this particular week is also the Holly Festival and Easter and Passover coming up this weekend. So this was a picture, one of the images that inspired me to start looking at the moon in order to study the Earth and all the things that happen on this Earth. And William Anders, the Apollo astronaut who took this picture, said, when I looked up and saw the Earth coming up on this lunar horizon, an Earth that was the only color that we could see, a very fragile, delicate looking Earth, I was immediately overcome by the thought that here we came all this way to the moon, and yet the most significant thing we're seeing is our own home planet, the Earth. Edgar Mitchell, another astronaut, spoke about what he realized when he was coming back from the moon missions, and they were coming back in the cockpit on the way home. He said, I suddenly realized, as the Earth, the moon, the sun, going around 360-degree panorama of the heavens, I realized the molecules of my body, the molecules of the spacecraft, and the molecules in the bodies of my partners were prototyped and manufactured in the same ancient generation of stars. That was an overwhelming sense of oneness and connectedness. So when I saw this image about 22 years ago, I realized it was the perspective of the moon that gives us here on Earth, that allows us to contemplate the Earth and all the systems and cycles and cultures on this planet. And my late friend said, pay attention to the moon, it will teach you everything you need to know. So really the connection of the Earth, Moon and Sun system, which Sophie was speaking about earlier, the science of it, all that and the cultural aspects led me to design a big monumental moon and tide clock called Aluna. So the website is alunatime.org, where you'll be able to read more about that project. But in essence, this brings together the celestine objects and the celestial objects with the waters on our planet, and how we're all connected to each other through those waters. I started looking at the moon's cycles and realized that there was loads and loads and loads of them. And I didn't know which ones I was going to design and represent in Aluna, in this big clock. After lots of talking to the Royal Observatory in Greenwich and the Port of London Authority, I settled on the three sort of first most obvious cycles, which is the wax and wane of the moon, which we all are very familiar with, the lunar day cycle, which is like the sun, it's a rise and set cycle, but it's 50 minutes more generous. And it's also what governs the tides. So that 50 minutes extra every day is also the 50 minutes lag in the tide timings that you experience every day. So for every lunar day, you get 2 tide cycles, and that's really the heartbeat, the rhythm of this ocean planet. So this is Aluna time, which is the language of time in moving light that I designed to display on the big Aluna clock. Here you can see it over a month with full moon in the middle, and then it wanes back to new moon. And some examples of the moon and tide time on Aluna itself. The other connection is the incredible energy of the moon and sun on our waters and with our light. So Aluna is going to be powered by tidal and solar energy, and we've just installed an enormous solar array on our neighbour's roof. So this beautiful river that Aluna will be situated on, and that I did most of my moon studies on and water studies. So the moon's gravitational pull causes the sea to come up the Thames estuary into London, rocking our city with loading from the sea by 10 millimeters twice a day, every day. London, its location, history, technological and maritime prowess, its global trading, and most importantly, its rich cultural tapestry all rest on the foundations of the moon and the tides. London is where it is because of the moon and tides, as this was the furthest upriver the tides reached in Roman times when London was founded. Today, when very big alignments happen, such as the major lunar standstill, that's an almost 19-year cycle, the wardens around the River Lee Park and the Thames, they all get the sandbags out, and they're still very connected to those big lunar rhythms. So the moon is an illuminating light source. Just by looking at this Earth, Moon, Sun system, you have the sunlight coming from one side, you have the Earth, and then the moon going around that, and together the Earth and the moon travel around the sun, and the moon is moving around the Earth as we do that. Just by looking at that changing shape in the sky, the moon can take us on a lifelong journey of discovery that starts to unfold, including the relative position of the Earth, Moon, Sun, the twice monthly cycle of spring and neap tides throughout the year, the seasons, solstices, equinoxes, and the 18.618 repeat cycle of the Earth, Moon, Sun positions. Different
Laura,
yeah?
You've got about a minute left, sweetie.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So I've just, the next slides are just snapshots of different species, hormone reproductive cycles. This is the coral spawning. So this is happening everywhere at the moment around the world. So this is Isis and Horus. So the connections with reproductive systems, the female hormone cycles, birth, and also melatonin. So the moon actually affects the melatonin production in our brains. So that's the reason why many people don't sleep well around the full moon. We have ancient agricultural practices around the world. So these are almanacs here, and they're still written today. And then the connection between the earth, moon, and the sun and the light. So this is earth shine, when you see the unilluminated side of the moon, but it's the earth, the sunlight bouncing off the earth onto the moon and then back to us. So the magnificent dance of the moon and earth and sun when we experience eclipses, and also the supermoons and micromoons, which everyone gets very excited about. And that immediately affects the heights of the tides and all the other rhythms as well.
Thank you, Laura. That's beautiful.
Sorry, I didn't time that very well at all.
That's okay. Do you want to literally say one last sentence? What's the thing you most want to say?
Just that these things are all interconnected, and the moon and the water, our position in this earth, moon, sun system, and it's a constant breathing and expanding and contracting system that we're a part of.
Thank you so much. And yeah, really worth having a look at Laura's website. It's got lots of amazing stuff on it. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
So is Annabelle around?
Hello, yes, I am.
Fantastic. We probably just need to. Are you a co-host? Yes, you are.
Laura, you're still sharing her screen at the minute.
That's it.
Okay. Can you see me? Hello.
Yeah, we can see you, Annabelle.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Annabelle. I'm an artist. I work collaboratively with my partner Rob as part of Ox Art, and I also have a solo practice where I look at grief, and I also am a moon worshipper. So Laura's presentation sort of has set me up nicely. It's very interesting, so thank you for that, Laura. I'm just going to share my screen as well. Okay. And I'm hoping that plays. There we go. So I'm going to read a piece of writing to you that I wrote about lunar tidal magic. The highest tides occur when the moon is either full or new. I have waited on the beach at Porthcurno, which is not my nearest or local beach, but is most favourable when the tide is at its highest or fullest during the evening of a full moon, and watch the water draw back to low, leaving the beach in newly baptised purity. With no one else around, the scene is set for optimum magic making, the sand a blank canvas for intention setting, with the moon reflected in the sea, beaming brightly as she creates an alternative vision of the terrain, like another dimension, a moonscape. Gathering seawater from this exquisite time in a blessing bowl, laying it down on the sand and capturing her reflection, the sea, a full tide, and me. Porthcurno Beach is steeped in legend. It is a place of exceptional beauty, a small and intimate cove of white gold sand and rolling blue waves tipped with foaming white edges. It is said a ghostly four-masted sailing ship can be seen at night from the cliff tops, rolling into the bay below, only to disappear before anyone can focus on it long enough. Witches, smugglers and giants all inhabit the cove at different times of year, depending on where the moon might be. Tales of funny goings-on and strange happenings here are told and received in daily conversation without questioning. For many years, folklore confidently told us that tides were controlled by the moon. I imagine the moon at low tide, pulling back the sea like a blanket made of heavy fishing net laden with catch. A shingly singing sound of sand and water ringing out away from land. I picture her at high tide, pushing back the sand, tucking up the edges of the earth with water for foamy baptism, nice and tight. Tides are higher at full moon, as gravity from the moon and gravity from the sun both pull together on the earth. At her fullest, the moon appears enormous, growing closer and closer, as if to examine the beach with one eye through a magnifying glass, saturating all she can, eradicating footprints and any trace of disturbance. Then as the water steeps back, the beach is left pure and clean, the very first phase of a brand new cycle. Lunar tidal magic presents an opportunity for ultimate magic making. A time of intensely charged energy, a window is presented where everything has reached the pinnacle of fullness, of cleansing and purity, of being the most content, of rebirth. The beach, a clean slate to set intentions by, the moon, fat and bright, willing to absorb our offerings and nurture their growth. She will take our words, our cast, our energy, and will manifest through her stages of decline and re-emergence until she is full once more, fulfilling the cycle. The tide will swell again under her full watch when the time comes. On the evening of 30th December, we made our way down to the cove. The tide was at its fullest, broad and lush, crashing and singing. The swell began to subside and the water started to retract. Alone on the beach, the virgin sand freshly baptized by high tide, reaching ever further out towards the sea, we unpack the apparatus. A blessing bowl to be filled with seawater. This one is in the shape of a large cabbage leaf. A spoon, a piece of amethyst crystal to offer protection. Matches, powdered dragon's blood, white sage, charcoal, an incense burner. Intentions written on stiff paper bound with sacred knots. A photo to sacrifice. An obelisk made of clay to combine all ashy ingredients, which is to be washed in fresh seawater and its contents returned to fresh sea foam from above head height. The moon is our witness, the beach is our altar, and the tide is our soundtrack. We capture the moon reflected in the water of the bowl. Sacred full moon high tide water, my heart pounds. Standing in bright moonlight, we observe and absorb this moment. I don't ever want to leave.
Very nice. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's beautiful, and I realise that I'm losing words because it's the end of the day, but that feels totally appropriate.
A story time.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing your story.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So we now move to Caroline. Caroline Leffey. Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Everyone's probably a bit tired now. Nearly gone for the whole 12 hours. Wow, that was Laura and Annabelle. That was just amazing watching your two. And I haven't got anything scripted at all. But I've got something to share on my screen. I'm an artist as well. I use photography and traditional photographic techniques like cyanotype, which you can see on the wall behind me. And I'm based in southwest England. I'm in South Somerset, so I'm kind of in between two seas. We've got the North Somerset coast, and we've got the Dorset coast below. West Bay is my nearest beach, so I think it's nearly exactly high tide at West Bay as we speak, and then about 15 minutes later it's going to be high tide at Watchet Beach, which I'm very fond of, on the North Somerset coastline. So I'm doing a long-term project called Tide, so very much interested in the tide and in the moon, and very much interested more in low tide and what it reveals. But I wanted to join today because I thought it would really help my research, and I'm kind of really in the middle of a project, so I haven't got any finished work to show you, unlike Laura's amazing sculpture, which I can't wait to go and visit. As an ex-Londoner, I moved to the area about 6 years ago, so I used to love going to the Thames and watching that tidal flood of the river really blasting out that kind of Londonness. So I love being near the sea now. So I'm going to share my screen and sort of show you some of the work I've been making, which is going to be exhibited in a sort of work in progress exhibition at a new gallery that's being set up on the coast at Watchet this September. So if anyone is around in the North Somerset area in September, come and have a look at what I'm doing. So I'm just going to show, I've just literally grabbed some stuff in a sort of sketchbook style of what I've been up to, shooting underwater in rock pools with very lo-fi equipment. This is just shot on a disposable underwater camera, shooting with film as well. I love limpets. That's probably the thing that reminds me of my childhood and rock pooling, and I'm working with cyanotypes and using the seawater to wash them. Very much inspired by Anna Atkins. And more recently, within the last 12 months, with various lockdowns, I haven't been able to, because I live about probably a 40-minute drive from the beach, I haven't been able to get to the actual beach as much. So I've been making lots of work at home with treasures that I've collected over the years. And that's been a different way of working, a more reflective way of working. So working with textbooks that I've got. Oh, this is an old textbook on the seashore. That's some of the work that I've been doing in rock pools with cyanotype fabric. This was created in the first lockdown with treasures that I'd had with me, and I quite like that more reflective way of working away from the shore. I even created what these are called I've called moon pools. So referencing the kind of disc of the moon and then kind of the contents of rock pools together. And I'm going to show you, I don't want to go over time, but I'm going to show you a very short video that's been created for a collaboration at the end of my talk with these moon pool images. And one thing that I've been really loving over the various lockdowns in the last 12 months is I've still been able to always see the moon. So even from my back garden, I can always gaze at the moon and imagine the sea that I'm longing to be in. Sometimes I've been able to drive to the coast and photograph the moon over the sea. Sometimes you can see here, I've got the moon just balancing. That's a hill I can see outside my window in inland Somerset. And like the others before me, I've been really interested in the folklore behind the moon and the different names. So for instance, January had the stay-at-home moon, December oak moon. I just love all of those different names, and I'm going to draw more out of it. As I said, I'm very much at kind of an embryonic stage in the project. Another thing that I've been doing in this lockdown period where I haven't been able to go to the coast is look through my archive over the last 6 years of coastal photography and start making montages. So this is a cloudscape with a rock poolscape, referencing all the different seas on the moon, like the Sea of Clouds, the Sea of Tranquility. So making these different double exposures. This one I'm calling Moon Jelly. sea of clouds, sea of tranquility. And experimenting with mixing the cyanotype process with photographic process. And this is the last image on my slideshow, is of a local river, which eventually links up to another tributary river of the Parrett and leads out to the North Somerset coastline. So that idea of, again, that feeling when I was in London, looking out to the Thames and thinking that eventually leads to the sea, linking the sea to the river. And I've superimposed a seascape, don't know if you can see, on top of the riverscape here. So I'm doing stuff with double exposures. And then the last thing I want to share with you from my work in progress is this collaboration I've made. And I think Richard has, so if I stop screen sharing now, I think Richard has the video, or I can share a link. I'm not sure how it's
video queued up. So here it comes.
So that was a video that I made as a collaboration with David Ian Bickley. He might be on the Zoom call, I'm not sure. I did invite him, and he's an artist that uses sound, and he was very interested in these moon pooled when I shared them in a virtual residency that we were both part of, run by Maze Creative in Cornwall. And that was another blessing of the residency, that of the lockdown, that I was able to join with these residencies that I couldn't normally join where I am geographically. And also I'm a mother of 2 small children, so I'm not able to normally join these amazing residencies anymore. So this residency was called Watching the Sun, and we were interested in all these celestial bodies, and David animated my some of my moon pool cyanotypes, and I was just so captivated by them. And he added in a soundscape of NASA space sounds and some more embryonic womb sounds, which I wanted to add in. So that was just a real eye-opener to me, and I haven't really collaborated before. So lots of talk of embryos, but this project is at a very embryonic stage, and I'm delighted to be involved in this stream to share it. So watch this space, and if anybody is in the Watch It area in September, please come and check out my open studio at the East Quay, which is a new space that's opening in Watch It. And that's it.
Thank you, Carolyn. That is sublime, gorgeous.
Oh,
and I just
you.
want to ask you how we get to see the film again. I immediately want to watch it again.
Oh yes, I'll put a link in the chat, because I've put it as, I haven't got it on my website yet, but I've got it on YouTube, so I'll put that in the chat now.
Right. Okay, and we have got a lovely 5-minute slot for questions, and we've I would love it if anyone wanted to step in and ask a question to any of the people that have just gone before. The best way is just to raise your hand or just to call out and just unmute. Or a reflection, doesn't need to be a question.
A moon reflection. I wanted to ask Caroline a question about the collaboration that happened with David, because in many ways the work has a very different feel, and yet there's something about the essence of both of both work that really fits, really what comes together beautifully. And I just wondered, you know, how to what extent there was actual collaboration in the making of the work that David did, or did he go away and come back to you with the mostly finished piece?
Yeah, good question. I don't know if David's on the call, but the way that he worked in the residency was his kind of technique was to take people's artwork and turn it into these amazing planets using some kind of software. So he did that with a number of different artists, and then he approached me. And because my work was already spherical and I'm interested in, I just thought, well, why not let him try? You know, it wasn't, I don't really work with moving image. I kind of do but that's with stuff, you know, from the real world that I shoot. And so, yeah, it's just an experiment, really. And I'm not sure, it needs more work. It's only a short sort of snapshot collaboration. And I'm such a control freak. I'm not sure about collaboration, but it was very interesting and sort of mesmerizing, really. And it reminded me of, I went to see this show at the Wellcome Trust on the Euston Road, and there was, I can't remember what the artist's name was, but she had this MRI scanning. I don't know if anyone on the call saw it, and it was just that kind of soundscape, and it's just mesmerizing, and you could kind of have that on a loop in the gallery. I don't know quite how it's all going to come together. I just keep making it work.
Yeah, I saw some of, because we were going to try and fit the piece of David's in, and we couldn't in the end. But we saw some of his gallery shots with some of the moon work that he'd done, which looked very stunning and quite almost fairly monumental in scale in a way. But yeah, so it was interesting to see that. So I was really interested to see what he'd done with your sound types.
Yeah.
And he's not on the call at the moment.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I was also just going to say, Carolyn, that Laura's Luna is not yet on the banks of the Thames, but will be. Laura, do you want to just say a little bit about your piece? Because I didn't want Laura to go to London and then not find it.
Thank you. Yeah, they were quite good visuals. So
yeah.
Yeah, so we've installed the community solar energy, and we haven't yet taken the project through the capital fundraising. So we're just basically doing it a step at a time. We've been working on it for over 20 years. We've got a small clock at Trinity Buoy Wharf right next to Marcus Faget's bell, the tidal bell, which is where my studio was. And yeah, we've been doing lots of community engagement work with lots of different groups, cultural groups that all have cultures relating to the moon and the tides. And yeah, Anne-Marie, I don't know if this is, do you want me to tell one of the stories at this point?
I've got a question from Chris. So
yeah.
If we listen to the question first, and then if there's time, if not, we have got stories later.
Sure.
Thanks.
No, it was just a very quick comment to Caroline, because when she said about not knowing where the work is going yet, I was just thinking, how much I enjoyed looking at it. And the way I work these days is often I don't know where the destination is. I just set off, and I just think the phrase trust the process is such a kind of cliched one, but if you follow it, the rewards, I think, are really lovely. I think if you can just let go a little bit and follow it. So I think making work is like a conversation. You make the marks and then the marks talk back to you and then they inform the next step. And that way of working has really freed me up over the years. But yeah, I really look forward to seeing where it goes. It looks fabulous.
Oh, that's so encouraging. Yeah, I need to
Thank
keep
you.
trusting the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're now at just about 9 o'clock, and I think the super mares are ready for their second dip of the day.
It's the first one.
It's Sam. Sam, are you there?
I can see them.
Yeah, I can see them. I can see them.
Can you spotlight them?
I can hear about. There we go. Hello.
They're sideways.
Fantastic. They're sideways again. Any chance of turning
Hello.
around?
Is that
Hi.
better? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Is there any chance of just turning the screen around 90 degrees? Yes, perfect.
That's
You
it.
look amazing.
Wow. No, not upside down.
Or upside
Okay,
down?
upside down is good.
Like that, yeah?
That's it. Yeah.
Upside down is
Perfect.
good too, actually.
Okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1, swing! We got so many people tonight. Yeah, if you want. Yeah! Give us a wave. Hi. In you go. Gonna do it. Yeah. Oh, there's one. Back again. They've just put in the chat, they better watch out for the 7 serpents. Did you?
If anybody wants to send them a message, you could write something in the chat.
Go ball. To see all their coloured floats.
Can you hear me? And Super Mez, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, fantastic. How many are there?
Well, it's more than this morning. I think we must have like 26 people. There you go. Is that including you paddling? No, 26 swimmers and a couple of paddlers.
Oh, fantastic.
They're good,
Is
eh?
that an... Does anyone want to ask them a question? I'm amazed.
Ah.